Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
WESN.
This is talking about the WSN, the Connect Capital Show. Michael Small here, having a very interesting morning. It's the kind of interesting that I'd rather not have, to be honest. I think on some level, if you couldn't, it's potentially true that the commissioner probably could not have messed up the public communications of this whole situation, even if he tried. Messed it up worse than he did. Because there's two narratives to this now from the perspective of the public. Or at least there's 2 scenarios to consider. Of course, there's going to be a subset that has a very, very, very hard time believing the police. We'll get into that. People have brought up, why were they running? Why were they running? Running is not justification for shooting. We conveniently get information at this 11th hour. This should have been information they had all the time. That if there were literally situations, circumstances that were factual, how is that potentially prejudicing the case? And I don't know, perhaps maybe legal advice with regards to a judge's ruling should occur with regards to revealing information in the public's interest. Because that's the second part of it. You could assume that the police are being truthful, and the commissioner still handled this thing poorly. I've even seen one comment, the comment section on some of the videos, including the press conference, that basically was a press conference to say nothing, which was pointed out in the comment section, by the way. One of the comments was basically, bring back Hines, which is hilarious because Hines was never commissioner of police. But apparently, Hines is more trusted by at least one member of the population as compared to the commissioner of police. Hines, a politician who obviously will have a political agenda, is more trusted than the commissioner of police. I wonder why. And a lot of what the commissioner had to say at his press conference was basically to say things like, don't go into people's homes. Yes, good job. I'm sure you scared away all the home invaders. It will never happen again. That's brilliant. Like when DCP Martin says certain things that are like, that seem basic and obvious, it's because she has to say it. When you call a press conference and say, well, someone's going to be charged in the Joshua Shamru killing, I can't say who. Also, the situation in Tobago, we were led on a wild goose chase. Well, all right, yeah, duh. You didn't need a press conference to say that. One commenter said, thanks for wasting 12 minutes of my time. And then when you want to say, don't reveal footage to the public, well, given the fact that you're not transparent enough, it's a tall order for you to say that and not look suspicious. It really makes me wonder, just where did they get this Yahoo? Now, granted, he's probably smarter than the average bear, but I don't know if we really could afford to have a commissioner of police that is limited by such an average limitation. Because his handling of the situation was the opposite of smart. And that's the sad part. There's no win-win here, even if the police are telling the truth with the Joshua Shamru murder. There's going to be a cross-section of the population that will have a hard time believing it, in part because of how the public communications of this whole situation was handled by the Commissioner of Police from the very beginning, and how the government, to an indirect extent, handled this situation, or rather, did not handle it. And then when the commissioner is coming on a press conference to ask for cooperation in various aspects, ask for the public to listen to him, ask for the public to do the things that he says they need to do, they're not going to take that on. They're not going to believe you. I would hazard a guess that the approval rating of the police service somehow dropped between yesterday and today. And the reason why I say I would hazard a guess is that in theory, it should be near impossible. How could you go below bottom? Well, that is the brilliance of the commissioner. He will find a way. He will find a way to tank a reputation that is already tanked. Because he went on to say, and then they would take photos that we release and put their own watermark. Photos of guns that we confiscate. Yes, it's very convenient. Now, I could be wrong, but I asked this then, and I'll ask it now. There was a revolver. That's nice. Where was the revolver all this time? Could someone please tell me where this revolver was? This mysterious revolver? This mythical revolver? Now, the sad part about it is, here's the sad part about it is, my objective brain says there probably is a revolver that they probably had the whole time. But heaven forbid you actually show the revolver, because one of the questions that came out of the shooting originally was, when did they shoot at you? Because it doesn't matter if they were shot at during the chase. It doesn't matter if they had a gun the whole time. It doesn't matter that they fled. What mattered is when they got out of the car, someone had to shoot at them to justify them shooting back, or at least point the gun at them. So part of what would justify this extremely aggressive police shooting, and I say aggressive because they opened fire very shortly from exiting their vehicle, is if the other party at minimum had a firearm, right? At minimum had a firearm. You could start from there and make a case. But they never, as far as I'm aware, maybe I'm wrong, I asked for it then, no one informed me of it, so as far as I'm aware, they never presented a gun to the public. They never made a claim that there was a gun in the car. Notice that. They said they were fired upon, but they never made a claim that a gun was recovered in the car, or that any one of the suspects had a gun. Nothing. Now, I understand you want to protect the sanctity of the investigation, but if they had a gun, it's a fact, right? Either they had a gun or they didn't have a gun. What is subjective about that? But they couldn't even figure out a way to communicate to the public pertinent details so that we could understand what is an obviously horrible situation. And then, you see, you can't work in silos. Where's the body cameras? No, they're still defiant. After shooting, that makes the service look bad, they're still defiant because, and I have no other way to say this, right? Because I've gone back and forth. And I've already said it, but they're stupid. This is what happens when you get people in positions that they're not qualified for. And that is a situation that our society, human society, has. You promote people until they reach the point of failure. I'm sorry, is the police service better off under the commissioner's stewardship? You would say crime is decreased. Yes, you know what's also a major difference between now and when Airlink was commissioner? A state of emergency. A perpetual state of emergency. The ability to arrest people with a less burden of proof to justify the arrest, at least in the immediate or short term. I mean, if I could just PDO people, maybe I could make Trinidad just as safe. One of the other things is we don't actually know what the commissioner does because the functions of his job, you know, communicating to the public, showing a degree of accountability and transparency, which is funny because that's what the press conference was yesterday, and it literally did not help their transparency one bit, to be honest. If that's what he thinks transparency is, then let's put it this way. He understands transparency like Minister Tanku understands diversification. Minister Tanku does not understand the meaning of the word diversification, at least not before maybe someone from the Ministry of Finance was able to properly educate him, because his bachelor's degree in economics was apparently a waste of time. And just by the way, outside of Minister Alexander, no one from the government has spoken about this. No one from the government has shown any real kind of leadership to try and help this situation. Say what you want. At least Stuart Young knew that when the board of Paria didn't know what to say and was stumbling around like headless chickens, he stepped up and put his face out there and stuck his neck out. Now, Paria mismanaged the whole situation to the point where we got what we got. So he couldn't necessarily save it. But him coming forward to try to speak was an improvement. But no, the police are independent. The police are independent. We can't say nothing. We're not the government. You know, we don't have a vested interest. At the very least, try to be a bridge between the concerns of the police and the concerns of the public. Nah, that would require something that is uncommon in our parliament. You know, leadership. Why would we expect leadership from leaders? Leaders aren't here to lead. Leaders are here to take inflated checks. When they were raised, it was unethical. But they'll still take the money, right? And then point fingers at somebody else. That's what the definition of leader is in the dictionary of the unreal place that is Trinidad and Tobago. There's a cross-section of the country that is confused and upset over this whole thing. And that's a commissioner of police problem, to be honest, more than anything else. It is not enough to tell the public, you all don't understand. Try not to think. All right, then explain. If you fail to explain, you can't blame the public for speculating. It's not their fault, it's your fault, it's a you problem. You're an intelligence officer, not a commissioner of police. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. I miss McDonald Jacob. I really miss McDonald Jacob. You don't know what you have till it's gone. You don't know what you lost till you get to see what replaced it. Lord help us. And by the way, lack of leadership from the government. The government campaigned. The government campaigned on stand your ground laws. And corresponding with the promise of stand your ground laws is access to firearms. The Prime Minister even made a big hoopla about it. Those who don't want it don't have to take it. Well, those who want it can't get it either. And this is not a PNM commissioner. You know, like how it's easy to say, well, that's a PNM president. No. This is not PNM independent senators. This is a UNC commissioner of police. A UNC commissioner of police. So, either you didn't know what you was talking about when you promised stand your ground protection for people. Look, remember the home invasion in the community of the Prime Minister's residence? He and all said, I want to have a gun. Now, I guess he could get a gun because he had to go through the ordeal of being the victim of a home invasion. But I don't know if he applied and if he successfully got through. It seems as though the criteria of who gets a firearm or who doesn't get a firearm is potentially arbitrary. I don't know if there's a proper criteria for it. But that's your commissioner. That's the commissioner that the government selected. And now, the implication of the government selection of commissioner is that the campaign implied promise to the population, which I didn't agree with, but let's roll with it. The implication was not hit them with the bats, not stab them with the spear, not pull out the kitchen knife. It was empty the clip. That's what was said. That's what was hyped up. Because the great hype woman, that is the Prime Minister, she loves to make hype statements. And now the Commissioner of Police is saying, nah, we're not on that. That's not where we're going to go. Good luck. You all need to suffer first before you all deserve a firearm. Play that Russian roulette. It's Squid Games out there. Those who survive, then you can get your gun. So what does that mean? That means the campaign promise. The implication is that, you know, somebody get Maury out so he could pull out the test results to say that that was a lie. That's the implication. That's what's implied by the chronological order of events. That's how some people will interpret it, because that's just how the public is. I'm sorry, what do you want me to do? I can't change their minds. I try to explain reason, and then the government sets something up. The Commissioner of Police says some nonsense that causes people to be incensed, and they don't want to listen to reason. In part because the explanation or justification from the government is either way too late or nonsensical, or both. All right, is Ashraf here yet? I don't want to talk off the topic. Hello? Is Ashraf here yet? All right, let's take a break and we'll bring him in. Maybe he could rein me in and prevent me from going any further, right? Because I can go further. Oh, I could go further. But part of it is we'll go back to the tape, because I have heard some real cockamamie stuff this morning with regards to the analysis of the tape from everyone apparently becoming an expert videographer, forensic analysis. So yeah, listen, I'll just follow fashion and commit the same sin. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios, but they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
Our award-winning show is back, and this season promises to be even more exciting than before. What's Up, Doc isn't just a title. It's a call to action for anyone who wants to improve their health and well-being. Join us on this thrilling ride towards better health on WESN Content Capital.
Are you driven, ambitious, and ready to earn? WESN, the content capital, is expanding, and we're looking for dynamic media sales executives to join our team. Sell powerful advertising solutions across television, digital, and social media platforms, and help brands tell their story. If you have strong communication skills, a passion for sales, and the drive to succeed, join WESN today. Send your CV to marketing@wsncc.com or WhatsApp 6861662 and start building your future.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas, and Movie Town, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
In this day of stay-at-home and work from home, home has never meant more than it does today. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or build your new home, now is the time to get going. Gittins & Gittins real estate agents are here to take you to that place of your dreams. Let us take you home. We help you find that rental to rest along the way, or journey with you to find your home destination. Investors and commercial enterprises too. Call us and we'll walk the distance to place your business in just the right location. Owners, leave the headaches to us. We'll find your tenants or buyers while you stay at home. We'll even manage your property at your bidding. Anything real estate, come home to Gittins & Gittins Real Estate. Call us at 760-3280 or 747-1220 or visit us at 16 Fifth Street in Woodbrook.
Hi, I am Emiliana Beechan and I am a mental health and conflict resolution consultant. Welcome to Mind Matters, the show where we explore the intricate world of mental health and the art of conflict resolution. Join us as we hear from mental health professionals, conflict resolution experts, and everyday people who have transformed their lives through understanding and communication. Mind Matters, WESN Content Capital.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
The home of Caribbean content is growing and we welcome you to be a part of the #1 platform for young personalities who are driven to make a positive impact in society. As we continue to reach every corner of Trinidad and Tobago through our daily broadcasts, our social media pages, or through our 75+ digital billboards across the nation, contact us to learn about our competitive rates via marketing@wesncc.com or call us at 628-5835. WESN Content Capital, television with a difference.
I'm back here talking about the WSND Content Capital Show. Michael Small, joined by Ashraf Ali, someone who is in a very interesting place, because the fact of the matter is, as he has been trying to empathically tell me, right, which is he assumes these are things that I don't know. It's just he doesn't even understand the different perspectives, gives me a different perspective. Anyway, it's very uncertain what goes on. We are hoping that worst case scenarios are not happening down a line of judgment calls. One of the things, of course, is the DPP. He has apparently decided to say, let's charge the girl. Go ahead with the charges. Now, depending, there will be members of the public, who will interpret the line, he is receiving the evidence of the police. Some will say, well, right, he interpreted the evidence, it must be on the up and up. Others will say the police gave him the evidence that the police wanted to give him. It's going to happen. At this point, it doesn't even matter what I believe and what I say. It is more or less locked in for the vast majority of the population what their emotional response is going to be. My whole issue is, and we could weigh in on the video and how it could look. I still think it looks horrible, to be honest, on the officers that opened fire, right? For different reasons. But it all comes back down to one thing for me. Let's go and assume that she had a gun. I would think if you see a situation where the police's reputation is being damaged. Now, I'm not necessarily saying you leak what the potential motives of the suspects might be, speculate on what they potentially were doing when the police tried to question them, etc., etc., etc. But, and maybe a judge will come back and say, no, revealing the fact that there was a gun in the car somehow prejudices a future criminal case. Maybe a judge will say that, maybe a judge won't. I have no idea. I just find that we play things just a little too close to the vest and a little too much on the side of being cautious. And at the end of the day, well, Guy Griffith said it best. They have to justify the charges. And it's not that they have to justify the charges for the court of law. That process is separate. They have found themselves in the court of public opinion. And rather than trying to figure out a way to make things better, they are finding ways to make things worse. The proof is in the comment section. Despite the fact not everybody disagrees with the police, but. So, now, Ashraf Ali. Good morning.
Good morning, Sean. I was listening to you previously, and did you not say that I need to rope you in, right?
Yes. Good luck with that this morning.
Exactly. It's good luck because you just went and ran down a whole line with all sort of speculation, all kind of analysis, so then I have no comment to make. Because I can't make any comment because you're already fixing your position as to what you want to say.
No, but there's still the viewing public.
Right? And this is how this matter has been dealt with. And I said it from the beginning. When an incident of this, when police involved shootings take place, how you manage the narratives, how you manage the information sharing, how you communicate to the public, makes a very big difference. And when I'm speaking because of my little experience, my experience as dealing with crisis communication. This was a crisis communication because of police shooting where you have fatalities, especially when on the first occasion, both the commissioner and the minister made certain comments about this the incident. Right? After the comments, the video surfaced. The public opinion went wild. And because of the fact that there was already a very low public opinion about the police service, the integrity of the transparency and integrity and trust and confidence. Previous incidents where they don't trust the police officers, and I know we have a caller online.
Yeah, I'm going to have to cut you.
So
but I'm also going to say, technically the commissioner's literal statements was not in line.
So that is,
right?
Let me take the call from Arima before I...
Caller from Arima, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Sean, also your guest there. No, I don't support it alleged. I don't support the DPP, what the DPP the action they have taken. I want to know when they had shot, when the boy was the young man was putting out his hand out of the car, right? And we saw that he couldn't really keep up no more, which means he had to fall down and the breast left him. Why they didn't find that gun in that first circumstance at that point in time? If the man, they had alleged that the young man had the gun and the man was shooting, the young man had shooting at them, right? And then all of a sudden, with the public outrage, they come back and they say nothing, right? Why is it now? They stay so long to now they're coming out with this thing and saying it's the young woman they charge her for the shooting. Why is it the gun couldn't find at that point in time? Why we didn't hear nothing? Why is it now they're coming out with that story? I can't understand this. It have all kind of corruption in this place and all kind of things going on in this place because they find out who knows. It alleged probably she had lost her voice and probably she can't talk good and probably she can't remember. So hence the reason why they said she did the shooting. I can't understand this at all. Now they have to investigate that more. Now the young man died and dead man tells no tales. So we have to abide with that. But I'm not support of the DPP decision. It is wrong. It's alleged. I'm not taking that.
Thank you, caller. First thing I want to say, I really don't want anyone, at least right now, to start to blame the DPP for anything. He is just going off of what he gets. Second of all, as I said it before, right, unless it is a really bad situation, which, I'll be honest, I kind of want to say it, but then I kind of don't want to. There probably is a gun. There probably was a gun, right? The mistake made was not, where was the gun? The mistake made was, why didn't you just reveal to the public that there was a gun? Because people probably saw, I know I did, questioned where is the alleged firearm that they used to shoot at the police whenever it happened. Because as Ashraf, and yes, I knew this from before, she didn't need to actually shoot the gun, because I did say, yes, she just needs to brandish the gun in a way, right? Now, one of the officers, his angle, and this is the thing, right? And I've said this before in defense of the police. You can't take it for granted that the police are going to have perfect information. Guys. You can't take it for granted that the police has perfect information and they could see perfectly in the car, right? I still have questions with regards to some of the decision-makings of the shooting, but I also understand the concept that if she has the gun in her hand, then at some point you're rolling the dice, and you can't necessarily say, well, it's only the police's fault that you decide to roll the dice by presenting yourself as a threat, right, and getting someone else shot. Now, I am assuming, because to not make this assumption is to go even further. I don't need to go further to say that, in my estimation, the Commissioner of Police mishandled the hell out of this thing, right? But it is what it is. The problem is the caller is not wrong from this point of view. The police has to deal with its own current reputation. The police has to also deal, whether it's fair or not, with the reputation of corruption in the government system as a whole, not just the politicians, but just as a whole. And the Minister of Homeland Security just announced a racket in the immigration department, right? What should be a great story and a great victory is now overshadowed by this narrative. But then also, there are cases from before where I don't think the public believed the verdict, and I'll leave that there, right?
You are very emotional and charged this morning.
Yes, because I just cannot believe. You want to know how to thank someone's public approval? You just get the commissioner of police and have him be your front man. That's how you thank public approval. From the jump, and part of the problem is what makes the police's, if you want to say evidence, narrative, whatever, what is going to make it hard to believe is the fact that his statements from the beginning implied details that turned out to not be exactly true. And since he tried to make statements of facts that turned out not to be exactly true, you get what you get.
This, from the beginning and from the onset of this investigation, this incident, public opinion was already being made. And the public opinion, and I keep saying it, it is hard to change the public opinion when you already have a negative opinion of the law enforcement and how they deal with police-involved shootings.
My opinion was not this. No, what I initially saw.
I'm not talking about you. I am
report, huh?
I don't want to deal directly with this video specifically because it will bring more. The conversation is already there, and you have all kind of analysis being taken about the video and how it should happen, what direction, and all that will be dealt with in due time in a court of law. All right. But the sad reality of it is that this matter has already started to be tried in the court of public opinion. The court of public opinion has already have their view as to who is guilty and who is not guilty, right? This decision by the DPP, based on the lengthy time that all the information and the evidence was gathering, the public outcry as to why it was taking so long, lack of information as to what is the status of the matter and all of that, finally went to the DPP. DPP reviewed, and the DPP, based on the DPP, who is a legal luminary, saw the evidence that was presented to him and said the decision was to go this way. I am not privy to any of the information, but what I'm hearing is that I could understand how the public views it because the public is seeing it from the perspective of the video, and they're trying to analyze a video without knowledge of every physical evidence.
I would argue it's not just the video, and subconsciously they're also paying attention to what the authorities have said around this issue. Because first it started off, well, they were fired upon and they shot back. Not they were fired upon, chased, and then, you know, they feared for their lives, so they opened fire immediately, which already would be questionable, but at least it would be a better position than what the video presented. So the video, whether the interpretation was right or wrong, the commissioner gave us a version of events that was contradicted by the video, right? That's point number one. But then it goes a step further with regards to how they handle the situation with the footage being revealed to the public, as though, no, we need to keep the secrets. And I understand that, yes, evidence left open to the public's interpretation can be a bad thing, but the cat is also the bag in this case. And trying to basically present an argument that will sound as though, no, we need to cover it up, regardless of what your actual motives are. And then you take it a step further. Not only did the minister at one point was considering legislation to make this an offense or something like that, but they also, the body camera debate came back up, and it seems as though, and this is what I think for a lot of people, if they looked at everything, why is it that given this situation where the body cameras probably would have helped you are you still so defiant on that issue? So that's what makes it difficult now.
Exactly. And that is why I keep saying that how we initially manage critical incidents, specifically police-involved shootings, when we already have a very low, it was already low. And I keep saying it, if you don't know how, if you don't understand that we need to manage it more effectively, because when you have a low opinion, a low perspective, public opinion, low perspective, it's difficult to even change a narrative or get public support. And this, what is it, the many persons, the challenge and the amount of comments that I have read and heard since the announcement of this decision by DPP, it's not going well for the organization, because it's an organizations, I should say, the police and the law enforcement, the criminal justice system, because of how it is, how the public opinion is about. Now, there is much more evidence that the DPP would have been going through and present, and that the police would have gathered, that it was not in the public domain. But because of the video footage, the emotions of everybody, and the comments that was mentioned, and everything else of the analysis and everything of that, where we have all kind of speculatory analysis and forensics, who sit home and watch the video and come up with all kind of analogy of what should happen, what shouldn't happen, and things like that. They are not privy to the actual physical evidence. Let that go. That has to go before the courts, and it has to be tested in the court of law. But it brings a bigger and it point home that there is need for the body cameras. This, not the incident alone, the outcome of the incident, or so the direction where the DPP said, based on the evidence presented, charge. Maybe if there was video footage from body cameras, and it would have strengthened a decision of this nature, may have strengthened decision, and people would have, persons would have said, yeah, listen to me, we have seen footage from the police service, the police side, and yeah, based on what we are seeing, yeah, we can understand the decision that the DPP made, similar to the footage where we had the ICE officer in the United States.
With the car, with the one with the car, not the other one.
Yeah, not that one.
Not the shooting.
We're talking about with the ISO. The video footage, the body camera footage gave a different perspective of different officers.
How violent it was.
Right. And I'm just simply saying there's need for the body camera, not only to have the body camera, but for also when incidents of this nature take place, to give a different perspective or show the type of interaction.
To try to show their point of view, what they were seeing.
Exactly, how the officers had to react to certain situations.
And I'll just say this, and that's why you need the best quality cameras that you could get. You can't do cameras on the cheap, Commissioner. Now, not saying that he was necessarily going to get cheap cameras, but the bean counters might get involved, and who knows what would happen. We have Faisal on the line. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. We have the call?
Hello?
Yes, morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. So it is what it is. And so I know the office of the DPP is supposed to be an independent office, and he would have reviewed the evidence presented before him to come to that conclusion that he would have made. So I suspect that he would have had information, maybe CCTV footage that the public didn't make public, to review and to come to that conclusion. And so, you know, I would give it, let's see how it plays out. Maybe the evidence coming forward would be made public as we go along. So, you know, but I think the DPP, it has reached his desk, and he saw it fit to make the decision that he would have made based on the evidence. So I have no quarrel with that. With respect to public opinion, Officer Ashraf, we would have seen from time to time where people confronted the police physically. physically. And there were people defending that. John Public would have defended that type of behavior. So we have a mixed bag, and in the absence of the body cam, which they are now trying to procure, you know, I think we should go forward from here. Let's see what's happening, and then we can come to a sober judgment. Let's give it a little time and see what evidence is presented to the public to kind of convince them that we are in the right direction. Thank you very much.
Thanks, caller. There is one flaw with your logic. Not everybody outraged with this was outraged with John Public physically assaulting or confronting the police. And I could say that because those situations, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're nowhere near commanding the national interest as this situation. I have seen people who have literally not commented on anything the police has done on social media. Comment on this.
I agree, but I also understand what the caller is saying, not because he's allowing things to happen, let it happen. We have seen and heard public outcry against law enforcement doing their work, against citizens upholding the law, where it appears that they are sometimes it appears that they're supporting the wrongdoings.
But let's put it this way: throughout the years, you know me, I was the one to say, "Don't shoot at the police, don't do this, comply."
So,
right?
But you are just one voice.
I understand that, but on some level, I don't think I am that exceptional. Not all of the outcry is from people who will never trust the police. But this situation is a little bit bigger than some drunk fool deciding he could fight a police officer with a badge and the full authority of the law, right? And again, it kind of started off bad with the commissioner's narrative.
We all agree on that, and we have a caller.
We have San Fernando on the line. Caller, good morning. You're on here.
Hi, good morning, Sean.
Oh, Diego Martin, sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Small and Ms. Ali.
Morning.
I don't think that the DPP will come to such a conclusion unless he has all his facts in order and come to that decision, but a serious decision. And I think he's a very good DPP. He's not biased, and he will always give his honest opinion in whatever he does. He will examine everything, and the ballistics would not lie. When they do the ballistics, we'll find out exactly where the bullet came from and what's up. I also saw this morning on television, on another station, that they slowed it down and they showed you where a bullet came from the back when glass from inside the car. And you could have seen it when it shattered. And they showed that the policeman retreated when that happened. And then he come back and started a fire. So all that probably, you know, people will take into consideration. Where public opinion is concerned, just like mine, I mean, it's just speculation and everything else. But the fact is the facts, and I show the facts, they will remain with the police side. Thank you for taking my call, and enjoy the balance of the day and the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. So there's one thing I'll say, and I'll say that this is not a statement of fact because there's no way to prove this to be the be-all and end-all. You don't hear any other gunfire except rifle fire. That doesn't mean that she could not have had a pistol and shot it. But what I'm saying is, that's just to show how trying to analyze evasion events on the video, right? Because one of the first things is, that's one of the issues that I have. If she fired a gun, how is it that we heard the rifle fire? Now, if she's within a car, maybe that's the explanation. Also, the timing of everything. It leaves things in doubt. The issue is, again, we don't have any of the evidence to assess.
We keep leaving things in doubt because of the public trust and confidence is so low in the ability for the police, because people believe that the police don't ever tell the truth. And it is an indictment on law enforcement at this point in time, because they have to do twofold to get the public to trust them more.
Just want to say, the forensics doesn't have to say that a gun from the girl killed Mr. Samaru for her to technically be at fault, right? I'll let Ashraf maybe explain that further. But the forensics doesn't have to be a smoking gun where it's bullets from her gun that killed him. It doesn't have to say that for her to be at fault because of the complexity of the situation, right?
San Fernando.
San Fernando or Diego Martin on the line?
Diego
Martin on the line. Call, good morning, you're on here.
Good morning, Sean.
Morning.
And good morning to the ASP. I have a take on this. And based on what the TTPS has put out into the public, I believe it is a plausible explanation. However, there are things that must be done for me to have complete faith in what the TTPS has thrown out there. Two things. The forensic investigation will tell us what bullets was inserted inside the young lady, and likewise in Samaru. Let's go back from the early inception when the police narrative was that they were being fired upon. Driving a vehicle at that speed in a snake-like disposition, to me, you can't be the driver and shooting back at the police. So that said, it possibly had another shooter based on what the police is saying. Right now, citizens like me have a lot of unanswered questions, has a low image of the police service. Why is that so? Because there are a number of outstanding investigations that the police has not completely given us an outcome based on their own investigation into the police service. For example, one case I'm going to give you. The DCPI, I at that point in time bounced down somebody. The police said there was nothing to answer. The PCA said there's something to answer. The ACP charged her, and then the case was dropped, nothing to go forward. So that is a big question mark on the credibility of the police. Now, from my vantage, I hope that the TTPS end result was not reverse engineering to give you that outcome. And this is where I would like an independent investigator. It cannot be the PCA because the PCA already said the TTPS is the biggest gang in Trinidad and Tobago. The police commissioners, not the police commissioner, the police commission service commission is complicit in not actually having the TTPS to account for all of its internal investigation into police behaving in a questionable manner. So that is, I am hoping that an objective, independent investigator is called upon to give a verdict on what we are seeing. Because yes, somebody saying it is a lie by the police, but I could find out and I could believe the current police explanation is plausible. Because you could, as I say, reverse engineering to give you that account. Only an independent investigator will be able, a forensic, objective, independent investigator will satisfy my concern. I will listen. I'll listen off air. Bye, and have a nice morning.
Thank you, Paul. My fear is that, and this is not with regards to whatever the result is, it's not so easy to get another investigator to come in and try to investigate something, right? Even if there's no wrongdoing, like I don't know if you could say they will definitively get the truth, right? It might, some of the things, yes, like the physical evidence might be preserved and so on and so on. But then the question is, if the previous investigators missed something, like if it was missed, there's a chance that it's lost. So, and that's an assumption there. Like it's not so easy to bring someone in second in line to try to investigate something. For better or worse, this is not, this situation is not about whether something wrong happened or you need to confirm that the police were correct. I don't know to what extent that would be reasonable, and maybe that might be a case-by-case basis as well, depending on the limitations of what evidence was available to. Because at the end of the day, evidence is not, well, there's always going to be evidence. And if you just get enough evidence that is always going to exist, you're going to prove the crime or disprove the crime. It's every situation, it's what evidence is there to collect. And some cases, there really doesn't have much evidence to collect for whatever reason. And some cases, there might be a treasure trove. And in this case, we don't know, right? It might just be someone to reassess the evidence. But the thing is, I believe all of the callers are correct on this point. The DPP looked at what he was presented. So unless there was stuff left out, or again, that the investigators missed, I'm not too sure about the value of that, unfortunately. Clarkson be on the line, yes. Caller, good morning, you're on here.
Hi, good morning, Sean. Good morning. Sean and the officer there. You know, the guy talk about just now there about the officer, in fact, he said that the problem that we have is that the people don't trust the police and them because they are not telling the truth. It's not only the police, you know. When you have people who say they give their all to run this country, they are the ones where children, everybody, when you feel that children not watching from the age of 13, 14 and all kind of thing and seeing all what's going on in this country, it comes like the society, the system itself, governance, is causing crime in this country because they're lying to the people. They are lying. We have the judiciary, we have the police, we have people in parliament, we have most, not all the entities, all the government institutions that you're supposed to deal with trust and trust fairly to all the people. It messed up. And unless we could come to that conclusion that, hey, this lie that we've been giving people throughout the years, it's not working, it could cause this country to collapse and go into anarchy. Unless we come to that conclusion, we have enough brain minds like Sean, like the officer right there, to know that the lies is not working. People seeing through that, it come like the government of the day. Imagine they're telling you that the economy is good, and I traveling my daughter to go to clinic nearly on a daily basis because she has cancer. And you're seeing businesses closed down like that. The road, you could drive freely. You're traveling in a maxi with 3 passengers. You're seeing it, but they're telling you that everything is good. Why lie? Come out and tell the people, hey, we in a bad situation. Tell the people the truth. Show the people what is going on, but they don't have the belly to do that because there's a people who custom lying, and that is our problem in this country. You understand? Unless we are determined to come out and start dealing with the facts, we will reach somewhere. We start to mash up the institution with corruption and bring the light to the people. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Paul. If we could put the numbers up, because I think a lot of people who are calling are regular callers, so, or at least they have the numbers from before. So if we could just put the phone numbers up on the screen, so if anybody else wants to call in. I mean, that's part of it, right? It's not just the police. And I think the caller is right. I think a case could be made that most, if not many, if not most of the population believes you have corruption everywhere, right? This is not unique to the police alone, but what that does mean is for the police, and that's why I said it's unfair. There's that extra level of scrutiny, that extra level of disbelief. Because, and this is where it's not just, well, the police are investigating themselves, but you have a similar occurrence of information not always being forthcoming. You get that from the public service. Yeah. You get that from the police. If it looks the same, and it sounds the same, and it smells the same, people are going to assume it's the same.
True. San Fernando?
San Fernando.
No.
Good morning, Sean.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Ali.
Morning.
I think that caller from Clarkson Bay, what he needed to say at the end of his contribution was, welcome to Trinidad and Tobago.
It's true. I felt that feeling last night.
Yes. Now, Mr. Ali, let me address this situation. As everybody, as you realize, this is about trust in the police service here. Now, and this is going to be revealed once this young lady gets an attorney and this goes to court. Now, let me say this. The DPP, and I'm going back to our case, the police had charged Miss Martin, I think it was Mr. Meister, if I'm not mistaken, with that incident on the priority. And she was charged. However, when it went to court, the DPP declined prosecution because he said he didn't think he could have gotten a conviction. So it is questionable with respect to what is presented to the DPP at the time and when the case comes to fruition. So in this incident with Mr. Samaru and that young lady and the police charging this young lady, the issue that the public is having, Mr. Ali, is that this Joshua Samaru incident was I think it was on the 20th of January. So 4 months it takes. 4 months for the police to collect this evidence, right? To charge this young lady. And from my understanding that they want to charge her with manslaughter as well. Yeah. The police service started this incident as an uphill battle because of the video. So, and then the utterances of our commissioner, as Sean said previously, but this is not going to look good in the eyes of the public, and it's not just about the video, but this is not going to look good in the eyes of the public. Is this another strike on the record of the police service? Sadly to say, because I really want the police to succeed, Mr. Ali. But it starts. There has to be some big gesture by the police to tell the public, here what's going on. We trying something here. We trying, and the first thing that has to be is the what do you call it? Is the body cameras. Get the body cameras and put it on those officers, and then we could start to try and fix the trust in the police service. Have a good weekend, gentlemen.
You too.
Thank you, caller. Okay, there was something I wanted to loop back to you, and I think it's with regard. Well, first of all, there was some public outcry with the initial reports, which came days before the video, right? But to be honest, I didn't speak about the thing and the situation until the video came out. I probably would have defended the commissioner at that time. That's one of the reasons why the stark contrast between what he initially said in the video, it was kind of bad, regardless of whatever the outcome was. It was a bad example of public communication. But with regards to I can't remember what Mr. Sanfano said that I wanted to specify. But with regards to the shooting, I think for people to understand, I think it was with the manslaughter charge. She didn't have to shoot the gun for the police to technically be justified to shoot at her. And I think this is and that's why I said the forensics are not necessarily going to give us an obvious result, right?
There's a lot of emotions, and for me, being in law enforcement, understanding the processes of evidence collection, I am much more somber and more level-headed in how I view the decision by the DPP, because I understand that there is a whole process of evidence collection. I am not privy to the evidence, so I cannot judge what evidence was presented to the DPP. I might be different than many persons who are there, who are commenting, because the general public is trying to grapple with watching a video and how the video, how damning that video appears to the decision that was made currently. This is not a final decision. You have to understand, you have to read everything that was mentioned in the report the decision, this is a phased decision. Investigation is still ongoing with the circumstance of the shooting, the police shooting. It is not confirmed as yet whether or not any charges will be laid or any disciplinary matters will be dealt with the police officers involved. This is one aspect of the investigation, which is the criminal offense that transpired with respect to the incident. There's more outcome. There's outcomes that could be dealt with. And the commissioner alluded to that. He's never said anything about anybody's going to be charged or not being charged. He held his hand on that one because the investigation surrounding the actual shooting incident and the officers is yet to be determined. What is taking the front burner and all the comments about it is because of the nature of the incident, how high the public interest is was in this matter and still is in this matter. A lot of emotions, and it's justifiably so, right? It's justifiably so because of the public outcry with respect to it. And the police has to accept and acknowledge that the public opinion in this circumstance may not support them, right? Because there's emotions in it. I am waiting to hear the entire outcome of it, right? Because we have to understand that the evidence that is going to be presented in the courts have to be determined whether or not it can stand the scrutiny of the courts.
Right.
It does not say because the person is going before the court, it's convicted. The DP said that they have sufficient evidence to lay a charge for this person to go and answer in the court for this matter. But this offense.
But I just want to point out, because a lot of people believe, well, and maybe this is the CSI effect, forensics will just tell us exactly what happened. And it's no. It could be a case where she had a gun and she didn't even have to fire it. And there could be 17 police bullets in Mr. Samaru's body. That does not indicate whose fault it was in and of itself, right? Depending on the circumstances, sometimes it might.
What I would ask...
But the question is, or as you pointed out, if she was a threat, she doesn't have to shoot to be a threat.
What could make this particular incident, and this is just a suggestion, I don't know if it would be possible or not, and that based on the judiciary, whether it will be acceptable or not.
Mm-hmm.
This matter, if it is in place in the public domain, the hearing of this matter be televised.
They might be, because in the states, certain high-profile cases,
it will give...
depends on the jurisdiction, there are laws against it.
So I am saying that maybe they could consider, because of the public interest, how high the public interest is in this matter, it can go both. It can also clear up some of the issues that both sides are having, and who in support of the organization, who is not in support of the organization, who in support and who have the little thing. That when they actually hear how the evidence is presented and the arguments are being made, whether the evidence that's presented in court stand up to the scrutiny, then in our judicial system, we may get much more support of our judicial system also.
That will help the judicial system. But I will hazard a guess that the Commissioner of Police, his approval rating, unless something spectacular happens, like he arrests a drug baron or something, will only go down from here. And the service's reputation will not recover under his stewardship.
I think there's a risk. There's a risk that he would have weighed applying for the position, because there's no guarantee.
This is the thing, though. It's not about who he is or what his credentials are. It's how he's handled.
So that's what I'm saying.
Certain situations.
I am saying from a communication perspective, managing crisis management, he is a crisis manager. Every day he has to manage a crisis in the organization.
He's not good at it, in my opinion.
So that's your view.
Because some of the things you said there about understanding the emotions of the public, I don't get indicators that he understands.
And I'm saying that sometimes how he presents his arguments, it may not augur well because we keep, and this is what I'm saying, this is that we keep judging individuals who hold these offices as to somebody else who hold the office.
No. To me, what it appears to be is, because he doesn't understand exactly what he's doing wrong, he's trying to give what he thinks the public wants. Well, and it's not working because he is misidentifying what it is he's actually supposed to be doing. I'll explain that. We have a caller. We'll take the call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air?
Hello, good morning. Sean Michael Small.
Morning.
Morning to you and Mr. Ali.
Morning, sir.
Now, let us give the benefit of the doubt, right? Let us say the young lady did have a weapon and she did fire on the police, right?
Yeah.
What the video is showing to me is that where she's seated, she's incapacitated, she can't move. And the driver has his two hands outside of the vehicle in the air, which means surrender. So you're telling yourself due process should be followed, and the police officers supposed to arrest these people. But instead, they just had a fire upon them. And now, the DPP, in my humble view, wanted to charge the young lady now. I say thank you very much, Mr. DPP, because I now understand where the society is going. I now understand a lot of things in this country. But as with everything else, it will always have a blowback and a fallback and a fallout. And I hope people like the DPP could live with that, because right is right and fair is fair. In 1990, after the Imam did what he did, he walked out of the Red House with his hands in the air, with his rifle. Why it is they didn't shoot him down then? Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you. Good program.
Now, I'm saying this more for the sarcastic value than the actual factual value. But there was a comment referencing Abu Bakr, right, with regards to the commissioner's press conference. And for the sake of it technically having no factual value, I won't say what it is. I'm gonna reverse my decision there, because it doesn't actually have any bearing to the case. It does speak to the mindset of certain people, because all of a sudden, people taking shots. Now, rhetorically.
But for the little time that I have here, I think what is much more prominent at this point in time, and I don't want to forget it, is that Trinidad and Tobago has a very serious situation where we lost a little child in Tobago. So
just two quick things before we come to that. First, even in the press conference, I'd explain what I meant. The commissioner tried to be non-committal. People will be charged. He doesn't want to say who. He's trying to show, look, I am not unnecessarily prejudicing anything or the other. The problem was the situation was past that point. It was past that point because he came across as initially as defending the officers, and indirectly, this is how the public viewed it, vilifying the people in the car. I'm not, the thing is, what he should have said is what you said. There's a lot of things he should have said from the beginning till now, because when you said people are going to be charged, and when you explained this is not the be-all and end-all, more can be coming, more investigations are ongoing, he should have included all of that. But that's not what the public is going to take. The public is not going to go through those steps. You have to manage their expectations and lead them through these steps.
I would just simply say, Commissioner, I don't want your job. You have a very hard task, and anybody who sits in the office of the commissioner, sit in that seat, with the environment that we have, will have a hard task. This is my personal view. I can be critical, I can critique, right? I can criticize and say what should or should not have been said. And we have discussed that already, how the communication shouldn't be. But honestly speaking, Sean,
listen.
That is a hard task.
Listen. It's only last two commissioners that make it look that hard. It's only the last two commissioners that make it look that hard, right? It didn't look quite this hard under McDonald Jacobs or under Guy Griffith or under Stephen Williams or under, rest in peace, Mr. Gibbs. It didn't look quite this hard under them. I'm just saying, right? We have a caller, and then I just want to ask about the gun, on if it could have been shown to the public or a photo or just disclosed. But so just get ready with that answer. We have a call on the line. Caller, good morning. You on here?
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Calling from Tunapuna.
Yes.
In respect to the video that the public was outraged about, where the police was shooting, based on looking at that same video, I was fortunate enough to benefit from seeing while Mr. Samaru's hands was going up in the air, that a bullet came from the lower part of the back windscreen from inside. I saw it, so I don't have to ask anyone. The bullet came from the lower windscreen from inside the car. So how it is that everybody, I didn't hear anybody else make that statement except in another TV station this morning, where I was very fortunate to look at and have a close view in the same video that everybody outraged about, where a bullet came from the lower part of the back windscreen of the car. So I have no doubt that there was a weapon inside the vehicle. I have no doubt about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. I'll just counter with this. I think the glass went to the outside of the car because a rifle round came in at an angle.
So
you could say that too. Now, which one is the truth? I can't say that is the definitive truth.
But the caller just raising, the caller just kind of reinforcing what you was going to ask just now with respect to a firearm.
No. My thing is...
No, what I'm saying is...
There was an incident. Could the police reveal the firearm?
So that is what I'm saying. The caller now, the caller just more or less was speaking around the issue of a firearm, and I just reflected that you're asking the question, you was going to ask the question about firearm. Yeah. How it was managed, whether the firearm, revealing that it was a firearm in the vehicle previously, whether it would have changed how the situation would have been viewed, I am on the fence with respect to that.
Well, let me just say, when you say that they had a gun, and you don't show that, because am I not wrong to say that in previous incidents, they would say a gun was recovered at the scene?
Exactly.
So when they don't say that,
so that is what I keep saying, that if
I was on that point, that was my key point for me.
We were all questioning based on what based on the videos and based on everything that was presented in the media. There was no mention of any firearm.
No, but my thing is, if you want to try to give the police the benefit of the doubt, the fact of the matter is, one of the key questions was, where's the gun?
So that is where a lot of persons, including myself, and I said to myself, well, then it must have something that would have caused the DPP to lay the charges of shooting. Because the DPP can't say charge somebody for shooting if there was no firearm to shoot.
Yeah.
So if the DPP, based on the evidence that was presented to him, not to the public.
But my issue is, why leave the public to question that when you could have revealed that from the very, there's precedent of the police doing so in other situations.
So that specific question is the question for the Office of the Commissioner and the investigators, why certain type of evidence was given and what certain evidence wasn't presented to the public. That is their decision, because I do not know what was the thought behind certain type of evidence being presented, whether present more or present less.
No, they presented no evidence, huh? If it was up to them.
Fair enough, but the court matter, the decision now, the decision, like many other persons, are asking, shooting with no firearm. We believe, and that is sometimes, sometimes somebody could you can charge someone for shooting at the police, right? Or so they shot at the police, but they didn't recover a firearm. And it does not say that the person cannot be charged for it, based on the evidence.
But given the fact that she was paralyzed, well, like logically speaking, it's very hard to say, well, there was a gun, they fired on them, and then the gun vanished. Well, right? Like, I understand I'm not a forensic analyst, but I'm like, Sean, it's hard for a gun to just vanish.
Sean, I would reserve a lot of my comments my comments onto the public domain. I understand some of the intricacies with this. I would like to hear the outcome of it, right? Because the outcome, I know how San Fernando holding on, so San Fernando, just give me a minute, please, or 30 seconds. It gives the outcome of this matter has the potential to go both ways. Support the organization in decision making and show that there was proper transparency, or at the same time further erode the public trust and confidence. Yes. So so we can't fix the decision that is happening now. We can't do anything about it. It has to go before the court. It has to be ventilated in the court. We all mean not everybody will be satisfied with the outcome of a court matter, but that is our judicial system.
Sam, on the line, caller, good morning, on here.
Hi, good morning, Sean and Mr. Ali.
Morning.
Diego Martin.
Yeah, Diego Martin again. I just forgot to mention something to you when I called earlier. My nephew, who is in charge of the interagency task force in England, and my sister was also a judge over here, but she passed away some years ago. But it's his mother. And he was speaking to me last night, and he mentioned to me, when he heard the girl being charged for me manslaughter, whatever. He said there's something called causation, that you don't have to have a gun, you can use somebody as a shield, and that's called causation, where you can charge a manslaughter.
Yes.
So just put that out there, and hear what everybody.
So
thank you.
Thank you. No, that's why, because Ashraf, we had this discussion, and I knew this. You get into a situation. That's why the forensics, I'm not going to say just whose bullet killed him, is not going to be the smoking gun as to who was at fault. Because as the caller said, she could have been using him as a shield. I will say this, I will question the movements of one or maybe two of the police officers. But again, my questions are not definitive. My questions don't prove anything. The glass falling on the outside of the car, I can make a case where it's not because the bullet came at an angle, right? That doesn't prove anything. So at the end of the day, I understand where Ashraf is coming from on trying to analyze what happened with the car, because then it's going to be a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking, armchair forensic analysis that at the end of the day is not pertinent to the case. I think what you said at the end there is though an interesting conundrum, depending on how it is continued to be managed with regards to public perception. You might have a situation, because nothing I said in the beginning is contradicted by how the events have gone now. Nope. My question was, all right, if you want to say that they had a gun, where is the gun? That helps your case. It can't hurt your case, right? So now moving forward, you're behind the 8 ball. The problem is, I can't be guaranteed that we will not have more situations where the communication is mismanaged, and that could suck, as you pointed out, the rest of the criminal justice system in it, right? And I very much doubt personally that the police service could rehabilitate its image under the current leadership, in part because the current leadership has gone on to display a lack of understanding of the public. So then how is he going to try to rehabilitate the image of the police service to the public, right? It's just one of those things where and given his background I guess maybe the expectations of him to be doing, because as you pointed out, it's not that we want to judge all politicians the same, it's that they all tend to fall for this trap. The details might be different, but it is why public communication is difficult, right? And part of it is, if you have nothing to hide, well then, why I can't just be upfront? Now, it's not that simple, folks. It's not that simple.
It is not
right?
that simple.
But at the same time, a part of that is always potentially applying, or at least under the perception of the people, why I can't be straight with us, why I can't be straight with us.
And this decision, or I should say the decision with this matter, at this current time, with the situation that's currently presenting itself in Tobago, and the manner in which the public opinions about the time frame, the way that the investigation has been led.
So this is an interesting thing, because one, I didn't necessarily appreciate the commissioner lumping them together, but I'll say this, I have no issue with how the police handled that situation at all. I have yet to see what did they go wrong. They got told a narrative, they followed up with that narrative. This is where it comes back now to the police needs the help of the public, right? How are they going to charge someone for a crime if there's no indication at the beginning that a crime did not happen? I don't necessarily appreciate this being used as fodder to say, and this is why video should not be shown to the public, right? I don't necessarily appreciate that. I think that's just, at the very least, bad timing. Bad timing. Don't lump them together. But
in this situation, I would disagree with the commissioner's point of view when you talk about the specific issue when we talk about having to stretch his resources in different areas.
Right.
One, the risk, or what we have to consider, is that when you ask the public for support,
yes,
all information that is given to you by the public may not be in support of what you want. You ask for support, you get information. You have to be determined you have to be willing to assess.
Sort it out.
Some information may end up sending us in the wrong directions and redirect some of our resources. But that is where you keep on when you're asking for public support.
Right, because I know we have a caller, but the point is, so by saying that now, it will discourage people from coming out to talk.
There is a possibility of discouraging more people from coming out and assisting the police.
We have another caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You're on there.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, Sean, my concern is about the child who lost his life or disappeared in Tobago. Now, the initial report we heard was that the father said, or the mother said, right, that a cousin had seen the child walking about at that time of the night and did not in any way seek to either pick up the child and take him back to his home because it appears that he had knowledge of whose child it was. The investigating officers, we are hearing a lot about professionalism, not professionalism. But the fact is, that person was never interviewed until a few days, that is based on the reports. So that this professionalism that the police is seeking to speak about, it is probably sectional or something like that. Because one would have believed that would have been the first person to be interviewed to verify whether there was truth or not.
Okay.
And in such an instance, one would have hoped that probably an arrest might have been made or questioning would have been taken a different form. Secondly, the question of the, I would say, laissez-faire attitude of the fire officer. It is said that the fire officers went to the beach. If they know that they were going to the beach, why is it that the new fire station doesn't have place to put a piece of rope or put a rope and put the necessary things that they are supposed to work with? And is any officer being disciplined for not having these, what might consider vital supplies in these vehicles? So you have to leave the beach, go back to wherever you go to get a piece of rope, whether in the hardware or whatever it is. Is any officer being disciplined? So all the professionalism we are talking about, it's a whole question of laissez-faire, whether it's the fire service, whether it's the police, or whatever. Because if these things were put in place, hopefully the child, if it was the body would have been retrieved, right? Secondly, the question with regards to Joshua Samaru, and no question is being asked by any of your callers, probably I missed. If this young lady had a gun, or if there was a gun in the car, was it a licensed gun? And instead of debating as to whether who shoot or who didn't shoot, the fact is, the criminals, what are you doing with a gun? You do not have a permit to hold a license to hold a gun. What are you doing with it? Whether it's the home invader, whether it's the whatever bandit or whatever it is. And these things need to be highlighted more than what angle the gun was. That, all of that will come in terms of the cross-examination and the DDP's report and whatever, which led to that decision. So let us, I think, address, it's like the dog and the bone. The dog and the bone is grasping at the shadow and you're leaving the substance. And it's time that whether the police, I mean, there are some officers who are definitely, on the ball. And there are some others who are not. And may I repeat myself, that if there's anybody, we are told, if you see something, say something. Every police station, regardless of the rank of the officer, everybody knows who are the rogue officers in those stations. And we are asking the public, if you see something, say something. Why is it you don't see something in the station? We know the lifestyle, whatever it is, that they all know. So it is a standard Commissioner of Police. He is the head. He head the purging of the rogue element by getting the police officers themselves, or whatever connection, if they have connection, so be it, with the chips, all let them lie, right? So thanks very much, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you all. The legality of the gun question is an interesting question, right? I don't want to say that, because I don't believe she was charged for illegal possession of a firearm. So I don't want to say that that is a be-all and end-all, that means the gun is legal or not, right? More needs to come out. But it is an interesting question that potentially could have more implications. And I don't want to say what those more implications are, because that's very speculative with some of the conspiracy theories that came out with regards to the shooting in the first place, which at this point, I'm weighing the pros and cons of mentioning it. I'm saying maybe it's a little bit too much of a con to bring that up now. I'm focusing more on how the situation is handled from the very beginning. If we just assume that everything that we've been told is correct, there was a gun, etc., how it was handled and how the public is responding to it. With regards to the case with the search for the child and the investigation, I wasn't necessarily following all the details because as it started off, it was a missing child. I try to not watch everything to do with tragedy in the news. But I'll say this with the fire service. This is just pure speculation on my part. It could be that they didn't have budget and they only bought it when they needed it.
Now, the thing about it, it brings to the fore the number of matters when it involves children, missing children, and how our approach in some circumstances when it comes to missing children, how we adopt, the type of approach we adopt. I would like to see a better approach when it comes to when children are going missing. Children are going missing, even adults go missing when it comes to missing person, because there is always the potential that over a period of time persons are missing, there is a possibility of a possible homicide.
Right.
Right? It could lead into that, and we have seen evidence of that already, where persons gone missing and their body was, unfortunately, the body was found sometime later and it becomes a homicide. We need to step up our game, and we need to step up in terms of missing person, and don't leave missing person investigations as just, okay, the person missing, they will come back home sometime when they come back. It is a potential for a homicide. I know the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service does in fact deal with it from that perspective, but it is not generally known to the public the level of investigation for a missing person and how intricate it is, because the longer the person stays missing, there is also an overlap of a potential possible consideration for a homicide or otherwise.
Based on the reports,
yes,
that's what it ended up being.
So sometimes when you ask the public to provide as much information to the police when it comes to missing persons, they are hesitant because they believe that the police is doing too much in-depth investigation, asking too much more personal questions. But that is the nature of those type of investigation.
You see this on TV when or Hollywood, well, mainly TV, police procedurals, when the officers start to ask questions and the parents are like, why are you asking me these questions? It's like, well, we have to,
because there are a lot of other factors that can contribute that we're not familiar
and
about.
You're not going to know if it's legitimate missing person or homicide.
Right.
You have to investigate the possibility.
And this is not defending the TTPS or defending the commissioner's comment, but the initial report was a missing person. And when you're doing a missing person, especially when a child, there's a lot of information that needs to be presented, come forward. Any information that would have been pertinent or could have give some value to it would have had to use the resources, to stretch the resources all about. Unfortunately, when you deal with somebody who has something to hide, they would not be always truthful to you.
You're right, yes.
So they would have misdirected the information, and it would have caused the limited resources, the amount of resources that were being directed towards this missing person be checking out all different avenues. I could be very critical and say, very critical and say that it took too long to deal with this, to identify the parents
as a potential,
as direct suspects.
Right.
But I can also understand that there's a procedure when you're moving, when the investigators were considering missing person to homicide.
So this is where you can draw a parallel, because imagine if they rushed to charge the parents, right? Won't we get a similar situation to the charges to Miss Seeley?
You would have ended up in a situation where you would have missed a lot of things, and you would not have been able to reach where in terms of justify. So it's on, and this is all because how holistically people view how we treat missing persons. And when we treat missing persons, we leave that not understanding that it is an intricate investigation, just like any other investigation.
So one thing, because what you were saying, the caller brought up the fact a cousin, he had a story, it was questionable, but I think the implication of something you said about a few minutes ago was they probably had a lot of different inconsistencies that they had to track down, not just his alone, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So remember, there was a lot of units working together. So let me just explain that if, for the public who didn't get that explanation, I will take a chance just now. I know you're calling in line right now. The Child Protection Unit would have been doing a separate investigation, because when a child is missing, especially a child of that nature, then we have consideration under the Children Act for negligence, right? Cause or putting endangerment of a child's life. So then you have other offenses there to explore. Then the Homicide Investigation Department was already involved in it, because of the potential for that. We have the investigation of missing persons. So there were simultaneous and parallel types of investigations along the different avenues of the law that were being done at the same time.
Now, we have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You on here?
Morning.
Good morning.
I want to speak about the schoolboy fight yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
Gentlemen, greeting. I wanted to address the schoolboy situation yesterday, I think it was.
Go ahead, caller, go ahead.
Go ahead, speak.
And my thing is the parents of these guys should appear in court. Yeah, it would be interesting that the parents of these students appear in the court as against the students. And their we would get a proper guide
yes.
as to where this kind of behavior comes from. And the next thing, if they want to reduce crime, must reduce hanging, resume hanging, and the cat o' nine tails. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I think at the very least, if the victim has any medical bills.
Well, remember this discussion, and like I said, the discussion,
liability.
The discussion about these incidents were involved school children.
Mm-hmm.
It's like waves. 1 minute, it's high up on your agenda, then it lowers. Because of the nature, because it was viewed on social media, you have a lot of outcry.
Yes.
It is not going away.
Yes.
And it's not being dealt with frontally, because suspension alone is not going to deal with this.
No.
Right? I saw an article where indefinite in suspension. That is one aspect of it, because I believe that's probably one avenue where the ministry alone, that's how far the ministry can go with certain aspects of discipline.
At least years ago, it should have gone certain number of suspensions to expulsion. They're not doing that, which is fine if you think that that's not the right way to go, but then change the regulations.
Then
don't just kind of ratchet something together.
Then we also have a parallel investigation with respect to the assault by the law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
But between both of those, we are not addressing, the real concern is not being addressed. Why are our children so violent? Why they believe that carrying out these levels of violence because of what? There's no direct consequence for their actions.
Or the consequences that exist are not enough to dissuade them.
And I agree to some extent, not 100%, I would agree to some extent that parents of these children need to be held accountable for some of the action, and if accountability means that they have to, like put it this way, rope in your child and discipline your child and be accountable for some of the actions of your child, in terms of even the paying remunerations for the medical bills and the other medical bills, other bills. They'll understand these type of things.
This is my unfortunate concern here. Now, in some cases, the child is conducting deviant behavior. The parent is not necessarily a bad parent. The child is not necessarily wasn't born bad, right? There's room for rehabilitation all around, because you need the parent to be involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Some cases, the child is a deviant because the parent is worthless.
Worse than deviant.
Right? And to say we're going to hold the parent accountable, is that really going to work? I would argue that it's not going to have the constructive effect as far as you might think it has in those cases, at least not all the time. So one of the unfortunate, let's take the stereotype cliche of the movie is child is a problem. Child goes to some program. It might be some inner city swimming coach. It might be the Rock on a football program. The coach shows the child, I care about you. The child finally gets some sort of guardianship and feels safe, and then starts to turn around. What is the implication that is not stated in these movies? The child's behavior at the start is always defiant. The child doesn't seem to fully grasp the long-term consequences of their action, and the child seemingly does not care about whatever consequence you put in front of them in the immediate term.
True.
And if you keep just hitting them with consequence after consequence, they're going to basically say some version of, it don't mean nothing, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And the thing, ironically, for school children, at some point, hard measures is going to run out of effectiveness. And you can't just incarcerate them at 14.
I don't know if many persons in the public domain are aware of, and I think they should be aware of, in terms of if a child is uncontrollable, the parent or the guardian can go before the court and present a case to the courts and say, listen, this child is uncontrollable. I'm unable to control this child, and I need some sort of support. The court will make decisions in the best interest of both the parents and the child to address some of those concerns?
My fear is we don't have the resources or enough of the right programs, because you can't just rely on more and more hard measures. You do have to overload the soft measures. And each case, part of the problem is each case is so unique
and
requires such a different touch and personal understanding.
That decision is not a hard measure, but it gives.
Well, yes.
It gives an avenue
point.
An avenue for further help with other measures to be put in place.
My fear is the state will respond once you go there. I don't know how prepared we are to not then respond with hard measures once the parent, because you're right, you can't hold a parent accountable for a child that the parent literally cannot control for whatever reason.
And there are reasons.
Yeah. It's not like the parent could lock the child up and not feed them for 6 days or something like that, right? There's limits to what parents are allowed to do. San Fernando line, call, good morning, you're on here.
Good morning again, Sean and Mr. Ali. I want to say something about this issue with those school violence. This school violence issue.
Yes.
It is time, because of what happened in 95 to 2000 when they outlaw corporal punishment. It is time we redirect the rod to the parents.
the parents.
I mean,
yes. Spare the rod and spoil the child. Remember that? You remember that issue that spare the rod and spoil the child?
So
it's time we redirect the rod to the parents.
Spare the rod and spoil the parents.
This is going too far now.
It is.
These school children have to have some consequence, and some harsh consequences, because up to now we have not seen any harsh consequences. It's time, I believe, that these children are, for that kind of, they are charged, and if it is that they have to put them in YTC to serve 2 years or whatever, let them know, let these school children know and their parents that we're not allowing this anymore. And these are the harsh measures that we're going to take. So far, the state has been trying to not. So far, the state has been trying to back off and try to do it in a particular way. Try to have it humanely and that type of thing. No, it's time. These children feel the wrath and their parents. Have a good weekend again, gentlemen.
Thank you, God. So I need to, maybe you've caused me to have to change my position there. Although I don't know if it's so much that they're trying to be soft on the kids. I feel they're not putting in enough social support while not wanting to punish the children, right? So you're kind of stuck in the middle where suspension isn't enough. Yes, perhaps the worst offenders do need some harsh consequences, because you can't let it be a free-for-all. The question is, what is the hard consequence, right? And that's where it gets tricky. It's more complex than, say, an adult criminal, right? And an adult criminal is still technically a complex situation. But this is more complex because, you are dealing with minors. So the capacity that they have under their own volition to then have to be treated in a certain way, it's tricky. But I do concede the point, Cora, that yes, perhaps some of the extreme situations, like when the alderman tried to break up the fight and they assaulted him. And it's not that he's an alderman.
So the argument has a lot more value now about whether we not when it has been stated that are we breeding criminals. Because, like San Fernando and many other persons who have been saying, there needs to be harsher disciplinary measures with social program to rehabilitate those individuals and not allow them to continue down the line.
Well, consider this, because I said this with regards to once it came out that the stepfather confessed to strangling Angelo. Consequences are here. The trick with consequences is you only apply them after the crime happens, right? So you need something else to try to help limit, to try to discourage, right? And one of the things that I am starting to question now is, compared to pre-1990, and maybe, and this is where Inspector Alexander was a genius. And he wasn't the only one to say this, right? But he said this a long time ago. The mentality of the country potentially shifted in many ways post-coup and the fallout from the coup. Because the old-time days were not necessarily always better, right? Sure. Special victims will imply that a lot of things were not reported on. But what are the values of a Trinbagonian in 2026? The pride of being a Trinbagonian, the courtesy for our fellow Trinbagonians, you know, the willingness to help our fellow Trinbagonians, and to have a certain level of camaraderie with each other. I would argue through various situations, from the politics to the racial politics, to at times the religious divisions, to what have you, the demographics debate of crime, you know, who interprets police shooting as what, stuff that we import from abroad, the fallout from the coup, all of these things are tearing away the fabric of society. Because I have a hard time, the police someone brought it up, the Prime Minister said, I am not in your bedroom, as much as how to say it was the wrong way to say it. It brought up a lot of things with regards to domestic things. This is a stepfather, right? It's not just the consequences alone it's going to ensure that we minimize this. It's about the values of the public as well, to try to prevent people from making these decisions. Oh my gosh, we're way over time, because apparently we also have Andy Johnson, 10 questions at 10 a.m. Well, maybe not at 10 a.m. this morning, because we were taking a call. Call good morning, you're on here. 30 seconds.
Hi, it's me again. Talking about the stepfather with the 2-year-old child. They said he's not feeling well, he's sick. When you know what will be the second thing they will send him in sentence and say he needs valuation. That is what we're looking out for now. That is what will happen. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. And we're in a rush. I don't know, can we put up the comments or no? If not, too late. I'll just say this. The comment was about bullets entering. It goes back to what one of the last callers said. This is not necessarily the be-all and end-all that the public might think it is. So please do not get hung up as to which bullet killed him. It is more important the circumstances around how the bullets were fired, why the bullets were fired, the timing, the judgment calls that were involved in it. I just wanted to say that because I understand people are going to lock in this sentiment. It'll come out in the trial.
This texter, the final statement is the court trial, and I said if this is every situation is an opportunity to improve on how we do certain things. I am seen as an opportunity. It is, like I said earlier, it is for the judiciary to determine whether or not it's feasible or not for this to be an open trial where the public and the media has access to it and report on it, because some of the things that might come out of it could reinforce or show the level of transparency for or against our institutions and going forward, because this has a very high public interest matter in it.
I'll say this, you've mentioned opportunities before. People and authorities never were smart enough to take up those opportunities. That's all I'll say about that. That's all I'll say about that. Folks, technically he did rein me in to some extent. With that said, thanks to all the callers. Thanks to Ashraf for joining me once again. I understand, this is not a pretty picture. More needs to come out on it. But if you want to be mad, be mad. Just be mad responsibly, please. With that said, remember your allegiance to the Republic and to each other. Stay safe. It's nice to be nice. Have a good weekend. At least try not to add to the suffering of everyone around you. Let's try and be uplifting so we could see each other next week. Bye-bye.
WESN.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios. But they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
In this day of stay-at-home and work from home, home has never meant more than it does today. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or build your new home, now is the time to get going. Gittins & Gittins real estate agents are here to take you to that place of your dreams. Let us take you home. We'd help you find that rental to rest along the way, or journey with you to find your home destination. Investors and commercial enterprises too, call us and we'll walk the distance to place your business in just the right location. Owners, leave the headaches to us. We'll find your tenants or buyers while you stay at home. We'll even manage your property at your bidding. Anything real estate, come home to Gittins & Gittins Real Estate. Call us at 760-3280 or 747-1220 or visit us at 16 Fifth Street in Woodbrook.
The home of Caribbean content is growing and we welcome you to be a part of the #1 platform for young personalities who are driven to make a positive impact in society. As we continue to reach every corner of Trinidad and Tobago through our daily broadcasts, our social media pages, or through our 75+ digital billboards across the nation, contact us to learn about our competitive rates via marketing at wesncc.com or call us at 628-5835. WESN Content Capital, television with a difference.
Our award-winning show is back, and this season promises to be even more exciting than before. What's Up Doc isn't just a title, it's a call to action for anyone who wants to improve their health and well-being. Join us on this thrilling ride towards better health on WESN Content Capital.
Hi, I am Emiliana Beechan and I am a mental health and conflict resolution consultant. Welcome to Mind Matters, the show where we explore the intricate world of mental health and the art of conflict resolution. Join us as we hear from mental health professionals, conflict resolution experts, and everyday people who have transformed their lives through understanding and communication. Mind Matters, WESN Content Capital.